Good day, everybody. Welcome to the Bible in the year 2021. We are on day 211, and we are reading through Isaiah 54 to 58 today. Not a lot left in Isaiah. So we're picking up in chapter 54, looking at verse 1, and we start off with something that's very encouraging here. And we have to understand that there's a lot more going on than we allow for, that we are open to, and the whole secret in allowing the Lord to do what He wants to do has to do with us releasing the barriers we have on our mind, releasing the things that we have in place that just say, no, that's impossible. And we have to understand that what's impossible for man is possible for God. That's just the way it is. And His purpose is increase. His purpose is fruit. His purpose is to produce through us. And quite often, I can only imagine how we frustrate Him, in that we argue against that growth. We argue against the fruit that He wants to produce. But in here, verse 1, He says, "Sing, barren woman who has borne no child. Break forth into singing and cry out, you who were never in labor. For the children of the wife who has been deserted will be more numerous than the children of the married, says the Lord." There's a lot that's involved with that, but we're just gonna go on to verse 2 and 3. And He says, "Enlarge the site of your tent." Okay, you need a bigger tent, and stretch out the drapes of your dwellings. Don't hold back. Don't restrict me, is what He's saying. Don't restrict me in your life. Lengthen your tent ropes and strengthen your stakes. To the right and to the left, you will burst out. This whole thing, no matter what you've gone through in your life, no matter how old you are, He wants to produce through you. No matter what obstacles there's been, He wants to produce through you. He, to the right and to the left, you will burst out, and your children will possess the nation's land and settle their desolate cities. So all the places in your life that have been desolate, he wants to fill them. He wants to fill those places. He wants to fill every inch of you with Himself, and he wants to prosper you. Stop and consider how He sees the relationship. This is what He says to Israel in 54, Isaiah 54 and 5. "The one marrying you is the one who made you. The Lord of heavenly forces is His name. The one redeeming you is the Holy One of Israel, the one called the God of all the earth." And remember that the church, we are seen as the bride of Christ. The one marrying you is the one who made you. The one marrying you is the one who saved you. The one marrying you, just try to grasp how He sees this relationship. In verse 10, the mountains may shift and the hills may be shaken, but my faithful love won't shift from you, and my covenant of peace won't be shaken, says the Lord, the one who pities you. And you know, Paul writing to the Romans talks about that nothing can separate us from the love of Christ. Nothing in all of the created earth can separate us. Nothing can separate that love. Verse 14. This whole thing of fear. "You will be firmly founded in righteousness. You will stay far from oppression because you won't fear." It's like fear invites in the oppression. Fear is that place of doubt, where we're telling God that it's impossible, and where we're refusing to allow Him to rescue us. And so He's saying, because you won't have fear, like I can do my work, like oppression will not come anywhere near you. Far from terror, because it won't come near you. Yeah. I don't know. Can we get our mind around that? Can we get to that place? So pay attention here in verse 17. No weapon fashioned against you will succeed. And you may condemn every tongue that disputes with you. This is the heritage of the Lord's servants, whose righteousness comes from me, says the Lord. No weapon, nothing the enemy can do can come against us. And in this beautiful thing in chapter 55, we have an invitation to the feast, guys. We have an invitation to the feast. All of you who are thirsty, come to the water. Whoever has no money, come. Buy food and eat without money at no cost. Buy wine and milk. Now pay attention. Why spend money for what isn't food? And your earnings for what doesn't satisfy? Listen carefully to me and eat what is good. Enjoy the richest of feasts. Listen and come to me. Listen and you will live. I keep telling my children that, just like I have to follow the manufacturer's guide to the appliances that I buy, or I'm going to break them and they're not going to work properly. They're not going to do the job that they were designed to do. If I use them properly, they will do what they're supposed to do. The Lord is our creator. He's our creator. And when we follow his instructions, then we're doing it according to how we were designed, to do it. So listen, and you're going to eat well. You're going to feast. Listen and come to me. Listen and you will live. I will make an everlasting covenant with you, my faithful loyalty to David. Listen. In verse 6, don't put it off. Don't delay. Seek the Lord when he can still be found. Call him while he is yet near. When the Spirit speaks to you, don't put it off. Have you ever had that thing where the Spirit's speaking to you and you think, oh, I got to remember that. I got to remember that. That is so good. That's so awesome. And you don't take the time to write it down. And when you go sit down, now what was that? What was it? And it's gone. It's just gone. Like, it's for that moment. Take it. That's how he is. He gives things for the moment or for what it's about to happen. He provides for that. So take note, don't put it off. Don't delay. Now remember this the next time you're facing something that seems to be impossible. Verse 8-9, my plans aren't your plans, nor are your ways my ways, says the Lord. Just as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my plans than your plans. It's great to finish reading this whole section. It is just so encouraging to remember he knows so much more than us. He's so much more than we are. And ours is supposed to be a relationship of trust because he's in that position of trust. He knows more than we do. He knows how everything works. He knows more than we do. Chapter 56, verses 1-2. Just like I was saying earlier, happy is the one who does what is right. The Lord says, act justly and do what is righteous, because my salvation is coming soon and my righteousness will be revealed. Happy is the one who does this, the person who holds it fast, who keeps the Sabbath, not making it impure, and avoids doing any evil. You have to operate by his design, people, by his wisdom. By his wisdom. Now, he goes on, and just in this verse here, I want you to understand that when he talks about that he will add others to them, he's talking about us. I will bring them to my holy mountain and bring them joy in my house of prayer. I will accept their entirely burnt offerings and sacrifices on my altar. My house will be known as a house of prayer for all peoples, says the Lord God, who gathers Israel's outcasts. I will gather still others to those I have already gathered. Yeah. See, it wasn't supposed to be Israel being it. It's not that Israel is the only. Israel is supposed to be the nation of priests that introduce the rest of the world to Yahweh. It's through him that he was to reveal his glory. That was the plan. I put this in here just so that we would understand that sometimes people suffer because of the stupidity of leaders who have no vision, leaders who have no relationship, leaders who are in place because they see it as a position of power, leaders who have grown weary and are trusting in their own strength because they've let go of the relationship. And this is in verses 10 to 11. The lookouts are blind. They all lack sense. They're all mute dogs that can't bark, dreamers, loungers, loving to sleep. But the dogs have monstrous appetites. They never have enough. They are shepherds who don't understand. All of them have turned to their own ways. Every last one greedy for profit. And this whole passage talks about how the people suffer because of them. And in chapter 57, verses 1 to 2, we're told that we're going to find peace on the right path. And peace is a gift from Jesus. There's no other source of peace. He is our peace. The righteous person perishes, and no one takes it to heart. Loyal people are gathered together, and no one understands that because of evil, the righteous one passed away. They will find peace. Those who walk in straight paths will find rest on their burial beds. Verse 12 to 13, you need to understand that this this relationship with our Father is really evidence-based. Yeah, I will bring evidence about your righteousness and your actions. They won't help you. When you cry out, let those things you've gathered save you. The wind will lift them all. One breath will take them away. But those taking refuge in me will inherit the land and possess my holy mountain. It's not evidence-based as some would have it be. It's not according to good works. It's the fact that we have a relationship with him, that we've taken refuge in him, that we are dependent upon him, that we are humble before him, that we can't do anything without him. We can't do anything for ourselves. And this is where we recognize that salvation is only from his hand, because we could not do anything for ourselves. It's by his grace. Yeah, not according to good works. And I continue to point this out because it is so important for us to understand. Where do we find his heart here? Look in verse 15. The one who is high and lifted up, who lives forever, whose name is holy, says, I live on high in holiness, and also with the crushed and the lowly, reviving the spirit of the lowly, reviving the heart of those who have been crushed. See it? Hope you do. And I love this. I've seen them, and still I heal them. Verses 17 to 19. I was enraged about their illegal prophets. I struck them. In rage, I withdrew from them. Yet they went on wandering wherever they wanted. I have seen their ways, but I will heal them. I will guide them and reward them with comfort. So despite how off the wall they are, despite how terrible they are, I will be faithful to them. And for those who mourn, I will create reason for praise. Utter prosperity to those far and near. I will heal them, says the Lord. Not because they're good, not because they merit it, but because he is good. Chapter 58, verses 2 to 3. Yeah. Sometimes we think that we can get away by just mere appearance, but we can't with our Father. They seek me day after day, desiring knowledge of my ways, like a nation that acted righteously, that didn't abandon their God. They ask me for righteous judgments, wanting to be close to God. Why do we fast and you don't see? Why afflict ourselves and you don't notice? Yet on your fast day, you do whatever you want and oppress all your workers. It's not about the appearance. The actions are a fruit of the heart, and it's the Lord judges the heart. Remember that. We got to remember that. Every day we have to remember that. It's not about appearance. Still in chapter 58, verses 13 to 14. If you stop trampling the Sabbath, stop doing whatever you want on my holy day, and consider the Sabbath a delight, sacred to the Lord, honored, and honor it instead of doing things your way, seeking what you want and doing business as usual, then you will take delight in the Lord. I will let you ride on the heights of the earth. I will sustain you with the heritage of your ancestor Jacob. The mouth of the Lord has spoken. So this is just this Sabbath. We're designed for work, but there's an element of rest. Rest was created for us because we need it. And I always point out that humanity was created on the sixth day, but the very next day, the Lord created rest. So the very first thing that we went into was rest. We need rest because we are meant for work, and we have to be renewed. There's a system of renewal. That Sabbath year, right? The seventh year where that land needs its Sabbath rest. It's how it works. It's how we work. And if we don't do that, we're going to break down because we're not acting within the instruction. But it's also a matter of obedience because the Lord said it, because he said it. And this is what is being talked about here. Just as an act of obedience, even if we don't understand it, just do it. Follow his instructions. Do what he says. And what does he say? I will let you ride on the heights of the earth. That's a lot. That's a lot to cover there. I think you're getting this, though. I think a lot of this stuff is sinking in, and I just find that this whole year has been just amazing as we've pursued the relationship. I have found some really amazing stuff that has affected me here in Isaiah this year, and I pray that the same thing. I hope this isn't a religious act for you. I hope that reading the Word is a nourishment to you. To your body, to your soul, to your spirit. I pray that you're finding yourself renewed in your relationship, in your desire, in your understanding, and that he's bringing you to deeper places in this. That's my prayer for you. And that this isn't simply an exercise for you, but this is actually your daily bread. Okay, so you guys be blessed today. Draw into him, because he wants to draw into you. And we will catch up with each other again tomorrow. God bless.